I built my girlfriend a whole business, then she cheated with my best friend, saying, "You're too boring to keep a woman like me. I deserve someone who actually knows how to treat me." My friend added, she needed a real man, not some provider boy. So I quietly shut down her business, erased her brand, and started dating her sister. You ever have one of those weeks where your gut keeps poking you like a toddler trying to show you something? But your brain's like, nope, we're busy pretending everything's fine? Yeah, that was me for a while. Back then, I 24 male thought my life was stable. I thought I'd made it past the chaos phase. I was self-employed, ran a contracting business that kept me on my feet, and had what I thought was a solid relationship. I met her, Lindsay, 22 female, through my high school ride or die, Jake, 24 male. Jake and I reconnected after being out of state for college. We'd been tight since sophomore year. Awkward, nerdy kids with no game, sharing cheat codes and skipping dances to play Halo. When he moved back home, we picked up like no time had passed. We'd hit the gym, grab late-night burgers, talk trash over NBA games. No weird vibes, just solid friendship. Then one night, we're at this house party. Jake nudges me to go talk to this girl, he says. Looks like your type if your type wore leather and had opinions. And there she was, Lindsay. Shoulder tattoo, black jeans, and a smirk like she already knew she was smarter than everyone. I was hooked. What I liked most about her is that she was driven and knew how to play the part. Polite with my mom, charming at social events, supportive when I got new clients. People used to tell me I was lucky. And yeah, maybe I was. Just not in the way they meant. We'd been together for about a year and a half at this point. Moved in around month 7. She had this big dream of opening her own interior design studio, and I helped her make it real, funded it, set up the lease, registered it under my business account because she didn't have the credit or paperwork. I basically built her a launch pad and handed her the keys. That's how sure I was of her. That's how committed I thought we both were. My best friend Jake was around too, and Jake was around. He was still like a brother I didn't share blood with, and was always crashing at our place on weekends. Game nights, football, you name it. The three of us had what I thought was a little sitcom vibe, like the kind of life you'd see on a boring Netflix show with too many wide-angle shots of people laughing at toast. Except something started shifting. Lindsay got cold. Not in a slamming doorway, more like she started running our relationship like a corporate job. Minimal emotional investment, vague responses, strategic meetings, and a feedback loop that never really closed. At first, I chalked it up to stress, business stuff, burnout, all the usual adult excuses we throw around when something's dying but nobody wants to call time of death. She'd come home late, say she was with a client or Ava, her sister, then head straight to the shower like she'd just returned from battle. But here's the thing. People don't get distant overnight. It's a slow fade. And it wasn't just her. Jake started ghosting too. Less hangouts, less group chats. He stopped sending memes, which might sound stupid, but for him, that was like skipping Christmas. I didn't put it together at first because I didn't want to. I was clinging to normal like a guy holding a wobbly table instead of just grabbing a new one. Then came the excuses. Lindsay started saying I was too available, that I needed more of my own hobbies. Which is funny, considering I worked 10-hour days and was still paying for her entire office space. Apparently, being a reliable partner now qualified as a personality flaw. Guess I should have thrown in a criminal record to spice things up. One night, I offered to cook dinner. She told me she'd already eaten with friends. I asked who. She gave me a list of names like she was reading off a witness protection roster. All people I'd never met, with no last names and conveniently no online presence. I let it go. But the gut pokes got stronger. I tried to get them both to watch this movie we'd all talked about months ago. Melissa was weird about it. Said she wanted a just us night. When I called Dan, he was excited, until I mentioned Melissa would be there. Then he suddenly had stuff to do. My brain finally clicked. Either they had beef or there was something between them I didn't know about. I knew something was off, but I didn't have proof. Just weird vibes and a slowly rotting dynamic that neither of us wanted to address. That is, until the person I least expected called me. Avenue. Now let me paint this right. Me and Ava weren't close. She was Lindsay's older sister, lived about 30 minutes away, and we'd only interacted at family stuff, or the occasional brunch Lindsay dragged me to. She always seemed all right. No BS, called things as she saw them. Didn't really sugarcoat, which I respected. So when she texted, "Can I call you? It's important," my first thought was, crap, someone's in the hospital. I wasn't ready for the truth bomb she dropped. She says, "I saw Lindsay last night at the Junction. That's a club near the city, Popular spot for Friday night disasters. I said, cool. I thought she was out with you. Long pause. Then she says, she told you she was with me? Yeah, she did. Another pause. And then, carefully, like she didn't want to be the one to say it. She wasn't. I saw her. She was with Jake. And not just like bumping into each other. They were together. Like leaving together. I sat there on the edge of my bed, staring at the floor like it was going to offer me a refund. I didn't even know what to say. Just nodded, even though she couldn't see me. I didn't know if I should tell you, Ava said, but I couldn't keep quiet after that. I thanked her, hung up, and just sat there. You know that feeling when your stomach drops, but your body hasn't caught up to it yet? That weird weightlessness before the crash? That was me. I wasn't even mad yet. I was just disconnected. Like someone had hit pause on the part of me that knew what was real. Because it didn't make sense. Jake? Of all people? He'd been to our place. Sat on our couch, ate my food, talked to me about loyalty. And Lindsay? She was the one who said emotional cheating was worse than physical. She literally had an opinion piece about it once, while watching some reality show. Guess we were living different values now. Anyway, I didn't say anything that night. I didn't rage or cry or drive over to Jake's place with a shovel. I just went silent, let everything settle. Because if there's one thing I've learned, silence makes people nervous. And nervous people get sloppy. It's funny. When someone betrays you, the first thing they assume is that you're gonna snap. Like, full-on lose your mind, throw someone's laptop out a window type stuff. And don't get me wrong, that fantasy played in my head once or twice. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized I didn't want to yell. I wanted receipts. I wanted the kind of calm that makes people sweat. So instead of calling Lindsay out that night, I sat down and started digging. Now, when we first launched her design business, well, our business if we're being honest, I was the one who handled everything. She had the eye for aesthetics, sure. Mood boards, paint swatches, all that HGTV crap. But when it came to contracts, vendors, payments, permits, she tapped out after 5 minutes. I didn't mind at the time. I figured, hey, we're a team. I'll handle the logistics, she handles the vibe. So the LLC, in my name. Lease, my signature, website domain, my GoDaddy account. She even used my QuickBooks to invoice clients because hers kept confusing her. She'd tell her friends she built her dream from scratch. I let it slide. I loved her. And honestly, hearing her brag made me feel like I'd done something good. Turns out what I really built was a very expensive fantasy for someone who couldn't even be loyal on a Friday night. So I logged in. Everything was right there. Her business name, her client list, the lease agreement, and sitting at the top of it all, my name, over and over again. Owner, filer, payer. I could shut the whole thing down in under an hour if I wanted, but I didn't. Not yet. I wasn't going to blow my load over one confirmation. I needed to know how long this had been going on. I needed more than a sighting at a club. And the wildest part? The answers came to me without even asking. Next morning, Lindsay was in a weirdly good mood. Making coffee, humming some song she never even listens to, talking about how she wants to expand the office space and hire a part-time assistant. The audacity, man. The sheer performance. I should have handed her an Oscar with her breakfast. I watched her float around the kitchen like she was auditioning for a commercial about modern femininity and professional independence, knowing damn well she left a club with my best friend less than 48 hours ago. You ever stare at someone and realize they're living in a movie where they're the misunderstood lead? Meanwhile, you're just an unpaid extra holding the boom mic. That was me. Later that day, I texted Jake. Simple. Yo, got time to talk tonight? Just us. He read it. Didn't reply for 5 hours. Then he hit me with the classic, what's up? As if he didn't know. As if we were going to talk about fantasy football or something. I told him to meet me at the old spot. The sports bar we used to hit back in high school. The place we used to joke was our confessional booth. He agreed. Meanwhile, I called my lawyer. Now before you think I'm some Bond villain, relax. I didn't call him to sue anyone or file anything yet. I just asked him to double-check that my name being on everything gave me full rights to shut down or dissolve the business without her consent. He confirmed it. So yeah, I had the nuke ready. Just needed to know when to drop it. That night at the bar, Jake looked like a kid waiting outside the principal's office. Fidgety, couldn't keep eye contact. We small-talked for a bit. He asked about work. I gave short answers. Then I hit him with it. How long's it been going on with Lindsay? No build-up. No slow walk into it. Just dropped it like a brick on his foot. He froze. I mean, actually froze. Then gave me the fakest laugh I've ever seen. What are you talking about, man? Classic. Gaslight level 1. Pretend the sky isn't blue. I stared at him, said nothing. Eventually, he broke, said it only happened once. She was drunk. He was too. She told him she always wondered what being with him would be like, that she thought of him when she was with me. He said it was a one-time mistake, but then she texted him. A lot. Wanted to meet again. Said it wasn't just about sex. Told him I was boring, too safe, too predictable. He ignored her for a while, but she kept pushing. He finally agreed to meet up again. She dressed up, tried to set the mood, but he backed out. Said he couldn't do that again. She got mad, called him a coward. Said she was just curious what it'd be like with someone else, since she never really dated around. I asked when it happened. He said, a couple months ago. 2 months ago. That meant every kiss, every dinner, every I love you, every back rub after a long day was all after she hooked up with him. After she crossed that line and walked right back into our shared apartment like nothing happened. He tried to say it wasn't like that. Oh, so what was it like? A charity screw? A community service project? Jake kept apologizing, kept saying he didn't want to hurt me, that he didn't know why he did it. I said, you didn't do anything. You chose. That's worse. And I left. Didn't yell. Didn't shove him. Didn't throw a drink in his face like some TikTok reenactment. I just stood up, paid for my soda, and walked out. Back home, Lindsay was asleep on the couch, laptop open beside her, probably drafting her next Pinterest post about healing your space. I looked at her, really looked at her, and it hit me. This wasn't someone who slipped up. This wasn't a mistake. This was someone who used me like scaffolding, built her life up with my support, then looked around for someone more exciting once the paint dried. I didn't wake her. Instead, I opened my laptop, pulled up every document for her business, and started the process of revoking access. Domain, locked, admin tools, disabled, Stripe account, frozen. It wasn't revenge. It was repossession. Because here's the thing no one tells you about betrayal. It's not just emotional, it's logistical. And if you're smart, you hit back in the language they understand. Her language was comfort, convenience, and image. So I took all 3. You ever live in a house with someone and suddenly realize you're living with a stranger? Not because they changed clothes or hair or started doing interpretive dance in the kitchen. No, it's more subtle than that. They start acting too. Perfect. Like someone hiding in plain sight. That was Lindsay after the Jake thing. The day after I confronted him, I came home and it was like she'd watched a YouTube tutorial on how to be the ideal girlfriend in 5 easy steps. She folded laundry. She cleaned the fridge. She lit one of those overpriced candles she always said we couldn't afford. She even made pancakes the next morning. From scratch. Like she was trying to memory wipe her betrayal with carbs and vanilla extract. I didn't say a word. I ate the pancakes. I told her they were good. I even kissed her forehead like everything was normal. Because that's the trick, right? You don't blow the whistle the second you see the play. You let the other team keep running, thinking they scored. And then you remind them the clock's been dead since kickoff. She asked if I wanted to go to the art fair that weekend. The same one I took her to last year when we were still in that phase where she laughed at my bad jokes and wore my hoodies around the apartment like she was starring in her own Target commercial. Sure, I said. She smiled so wide I thought her face might crack. She had no clue I already knew everything. About her. About Jake. About the lie she's been dragging through our home like a wet rug for months. Saturday was picture perfect. That fake kind of day that Instagram influencers dream about. She wore the dress I bought her last Christmas. Held my hand like she hadn't just tanked our entire relationship behind my back, giggled at street artists, posed for selfies, looped her arm in mine every time someone attractive walked by like she was marking territory. And I smiled, played my part like I was still in the script. But in my head, I was checking exits, running backup plans, watching her perform the role of loving girlfriend like her life depended on it. Because she knew something was off. She couldn't quite name it, but she felt it. Sunday morning, I brewed coffee like usual. Made it strong, the way she used to complain about. I didn't say much, just sat at the table scrolling through emails. She walked out in her robe, yawning like she didn't spend the past week creating a mess I was about to clean up with a flamethrower. You're quiet this morning, she said. I motioned to the chair across from me. Sit down for a second. She blinked, hesitated, then shuffled over. No smile this time. Her face was still halfway in morning mode, but something behind her eyes was wide awake. She knew. She didn't know what, but she knew. I looked her dead in the eyes. I know about you and Jake. There was this split second, like a power outage in her brain. Her eyes froze, mouth twitched. And then it hit. The micro-expression panic shuffle. She blinked. Once, twice. Looked around the room like she dropped her moral compass under the couch. What are you talking about? I didn't blink. Ava saw you leave the junction with him. She told me. Jake confirmed it. Silence. Then she launched into stage 1 of the manipulation Olympics. Okay, yes, I left with him, but not like that. We were just talking outside. He walked me to my car, that's all. Right, because my best friend always moonlights as an Uber escort at 1 a.m. with girls he's supposedly not touching. I said nothing. Just let the silence stretch like a rubber band. She pivoted. You don't trust me? After everything I've done for you? You, for me. Like I was some charity case she took in, and not the guy who built her business from scratch, gave her a place to live, and cleaned up her financial wreckage like it was my job. She got up, started pacing. Fine. It happened once, one time, months ago. I felt disgusting after, okay? I didn't even want to look at myself. I told him to stop talking to me. I looked up. When was it? She hesitated. 2, maybe 3 months ago. So she'd been sleeping in my bed, smiling in selfies, making to-do lists with me after the fact, letting me plan a future while she carried around a secret like it was just an accessory. That wasn't a slip-up. That was strategy. I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to lose you, she said. Let me translate that. I was hoping to get away with it until it became inconvenient. She sat back down, tears welling up like she was trying to trigger the next phase. Sympathy mode. You've just been so focused on your business. I felt invisible. I felt like I was losing you. Ah, the plot twist. It's my fault she climbed into bed with my best friend. Right. So your response to feeling neglected was to shoplift from the loyalty aisle. She sniffled. I just wanted to feel something. Yeah, you felt something all right. Jake. That one hit her. Hard. She looked up like she was about to swing it all back around. Like I was going to apologize next. But I wasn't done. You know I own your business, right? She blinked again. Slower this time. Like her brain was buffering while the words processed. What? I mean, the LLC is in my name. Lease, mine, Stripe account, my system. You couldn't even apply for a gas card without my help. You use my QuickBooks. So no, Lindsay, you don't own anything. You just decorate it. That broke something. Her fake composure cracked. You're not serious. I stood up, slow and calm. You've got 30 days to vacate the office space. I've already locked the back end, revoked access, froze payments. I'm not being petty. I'm reclaiming what's mine. You want to rebrand yourself as an entrepreneur? Start by not using stolen materials. She started crying. Hard. The kind of sobbing you only hear when a manipulator realizes their usual tactics aren't landing. You're throwing me away over a mistake? Number? I'm cutting my losses from a bad investment. You're the one who emptied the account. I'm just closing it. You can't do this, she whispered, voice trembling. I already did. Then I walked out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't yell. Just grabbed my keys, walked to my car, and left. Straight to a hotel. Booked a week. I didn't need revenge. I needed peace. And the best part? She couldn't do a damn thing about it. Because when your whole empire is built on someone else's foundation, all it takes is one man stepping off for the whole thing to crumble. There's this funny thing people do when you go quiet on them. At first, they treat it like you're being dramatic. Then, they think you're bluffing. But eventually, they realize you're serious. And that realization? That's when they start unraveling. Those nights in the hotel were actually therapeutic. And for the first time in months, I actually slept. No fake cuddles. No double takes at her phone screen lighting up at night. No walking on eggshells in my own place. Just silence. She blew up my phone first. Naturally. Missed calls, texts, all back to back like she was trying to reboot her way back into relevance. First it was, please talk to me. Then, we need to fix this. Then, I can explain everything. And eventually, this is your fault. I didn't reply. Not once. It's incredible how fast the tone shifts when someone realizes they've lost control. The first 24 hours, she was remorseful. By hour 36, she was condescending. By day 3, she was full-on delusional. She emailed me a 3-paragraph manifesto titled, You're Being Unfair. Like she was building a legal case for why betrayal doesn't count if it happens with someone you were already close to. She even compared it to me working long hours. Said I abandoned the emotional side of the relationship. I guess putting food on the table, funding her business, and covering her half of the rent was me checking out emotionally. Classic female manipulator. I didn't reply to that either. Just archived it and changed my number. It's wild how fast a manipulator becomes a motivational speaker when you deny them the spotlight. She showed up at my job that Friday. I just finished a site visit and was walking out to the truck when I saw her car parked across the street. She stepped out like she was walking into a Netflix drama. Hair curled, makeup done, clothes just casual enough to say, "I'm broken but still presentable." She waved. I didn't. She walked over like we were about to have a civil conversation. "Hey, can we talk?" "No," I said, unlocking the truck. I feel like we need closure." We had closure. You closed the door when you climbed into Jake's car. She flinched like I'd slapped her. Then, like clockwork, she switched tones. "You're acting like I'm a criminal. I made one mistake. You're ruining everything we built over something that barely," I cut in. "Lindsay, you built a whole side story behind my back. You were running 2 lives and treating me like a bank account with benefits? That's not fair. What's not fair is I gave you every tool to win, and you still managed to fumble the entire bag." That's when she tried to cry again. I watched for a second. No tear landed. "You don't even look sad," I said. "I am sad." "Then show it somewhere else." I got in the truck, drove off while she was mid-sentence. I wasn't being rude. I was protecting my time. There's a difference. That night, she tried to get clever. Logged into the old business Instagram and posted a story about betrayal and healing over a moody jazz track. Caption said something like, "Sometimes the ones who build with you don't stay to see it grow." Bro, I was the one watering the damn thing. She just picked the paint colors. I logged into the admin panel, forgot she never changed the passwords, and wiped her access. Not just Instagram, website, mailing list, even the online booking tool. She messaged me on a burner email. "Why are you sabotaging me?" I didn't reply. Because I wasn't. I was just repossessing what I paid for. You don't get to keep the keys when you burn down the house. Meanwhile, word got around. Ava called me just to say she was sorry again. Said Lindsay had shown up to their mom's place and tried spinning the story. Claimed I blindsided her, that I took everything out from under her. Ava told her straight up, "He didn't take anything you didn't already throw away." Respect. Mutual friends? Same thing. The smart ones stayed out of it. A couple tried to play middleman, saying Lindsay was really spiraling. She was posting vague tweets, resharing breakup memes, and doing that thing where girls pretend to be self-aware by publicly admitting they're the problem, but low-key want everyone to tell them they're not. I stayed silent, kept my head down, got back to work. But the best part? Jake tried reaching out again. Texted me something like, "I think we should talk again, man. I miss having you around." I left it on red. Dude acted like I was his emotional support animal. Sorry, bro. You don't get to sleep with my girl and then ask for bro time. That's not how the credits roll. I have zero respect for that guy now. By week 2, Lindsay stopped posting. Radio silence. No updates. No cryptic quotes. No stories of her making vegan smoothies and healing. Then I got the final cherry on top. My lawyer called. Said someone from Lindsay's camp had reached out. Probably her cousin who went to law school for 6 months before dropping out. Asking about potentially transferring ownership of the business. He laughed. I laughed. I told him to send a simple reply. "There's nothing to transfer. It's already mine." And that was it. She never replied again. Funny thing is, I didn't need revenge. I didn't need drama. I just removed the audience. And people like her? They can't perform without it. That's the part they never see coming. A couple of weeks after the fallout, just when things had gone blissfully quiet, I got a voice note. It was her. Lindsay, the same woman who cried at my job, called me cruel for leaving, and accused me of sabotaging her future, now sent a 57-second voice memo, like we were casually fixing a scheduling conflict. "Hey, I know things got messy. I just want to say I've had time to think, and I really believe we can still make this work. I'm not with anyone anymore. I was just confused, and I miss you. I miss us. Can we just talk? Miss me? You mean now that Jake doesn't want you either?" I didn't even have to guess what happened. Jake sent me the screenshots himself. Apparently, right after I cut her off, she slithered right into his DMs. Same voice notes, same crocodile tears, said she was finally free now, that they owed it to each other to see what was there. He blocked her, then texted me, "Bro, I'm sorry for everything. I don't want anything to do with her. She's lost. Guess being each other's secret was more exciting than being each other's reality. Hilarious how fast people ditch each other once the truth hits oxygen. But here's the part I didn't expect. That week, Ava texted me again. Just checking in. No pressure, no drama. Just, hope your week's been less chaotic." It was. I texted back. Thanked her again for telling me what she saw. Said I respected the hell out of how she handled it. We started texting more. Dumb memes, funny reels, little observations from work. It was normal. Real. Effortless. First lunch meetup was at this cafe near the lake. No fancy setup, no big talk about what we are. Just food, jokes, and some sarcastic takes about how people pretend healing means ignoring red flags until they turn into traffic lights. She was sharp. Grounded. Nothing like Lindsay's constant performance mode. Ava didn't try to impress. She didn't need a spotlight. And that made her way more attractive than any over-rehearsed boss babe energy Lindsay ever threw around. She was an actual woman. We kept it low-key, took our time, no hard labels, just getting to know each other without the baggage. And for once, I didn't feel like I was being managed like a project. I was just there, with someone who didn't need me to build a life for them, because she already had one. But Lindsay, she couldn't stand being replaced and irrelevant. Not long after Ava and I were seen out together, just once in public, I started hearing whispers. Lindsay was telling mutuals that I'd moved on too fast, that I was probably already messing with Ava behind her back. Right, because clearly, the guy who got cheated on is the real villain here. Classic projection, the type of delusion that comes from a person who can't stand not being the main character anymore. She even tried looping Jake back in, told people he used her, that he manipulated her while she was emotionally vulnerable. Called it a moment of weakness she couldn't process because of trauma. Which trauma? She never explained. I guess when lies stop working, you throw buzzwords around like glitter and hope someone gives you a hug. Meanwhile, I was still silent. No rants, no subtweets, no callouts. Just letting her spin herself into irrelevance. Because here's the truth no one wants to say out loud. When you don't react, you stay in control. And people like her? They hate that. They need your anger to justify their guilt. Without it, they're just left with what they did. And that's the real punishment. Ava and I didn't go around parading anything. It wasn't about revenge or optics. She actually asked early on if it would be weird to even think about something between us. Said she didn't want it to feel like she was taking sides or stepping into something messy. I told her the truth. Lindsay burned the bridge. You didn't push her. She nodded, then said something that stuck with me. Some people think breaking something means they own the pieces. And that's when I knew. Ava wasn't just different. She got it. We've been dating ever since. Quietly. No public declarations. No performative captions. Just real time, real conversations. And the kind of honesty that doesn't need a spotlight. She doesn't depend on me. Doesn't ask for handouts or fake support. She's got her own job, her own friends, her own place. And somehow, she still shows up every time. Not because she needs something, but because she wants to. That difference? Massive. Lindsay was like a sponsored ad. Polished, calculated, always pushing something. Ava? She's open tabs and hoodie weather. Real. Comfortable. Nothing fake behind the eyes. Looking back now, I don't regret anything. Not even the pain. Because if that crap didn't happen, I might have still been stuck, building a dream for someone who didn't even have the decency to stay awake during it. And Lindsay? She's not doing so hot. She's been job hopping, trying to keep the illusion alive. Heard she's freelancing now, pitching herself as an independent design consultant. Funny, considering she can't legally use half the platforms anymore because I still own them. Last I checked, she was posting blurry motivational quotes and tagging herself in co-working spaces like she's reinventing herself through sheer delusion. She still tells people I sabotaged her brand. The same brand I funded. The same brand I built. The same brand she torched by being stupid. But whatever helps you sleep at night. Me? I'm good. Better than good. And this was just the beginning. Some people don't know how to let go. They're like bad Wi-Fi. Even when the connection's clearly broken, they'll keep trying to load the page. Lindsay was that. The signal was gone. The router was unplugged. Hell, the whole building was condemned. But she kept refreshing, hoping to find a version of the past where she still had leverage. It didn't exist. By now, she knew Ava and I were a thing. We weren't flaunting it, but we also weren't hiding. Word got around. It always does. And Lindsay? She didn't take it well. She went quiet for about a month. No messages, no appearances, no guilt bombs tossed over the fence. I almost thought she was finally moving on. But manipulators don't leave unless they're pushed. They wait. They scheme. And when they realize you're out of reach, they pivot to the next target in your orbit. In my case, that target was Ava's family. It started with their mom, sweet woman, big on giving people the benefit of the doubt. She liked me but had known Lindsay longer. Apparently, Lindsay showed up at her place just to talk, saying she was going through a tough time and needed some clarity. What she actually did? Played the victim's monologue like it was opening night at her local community theater. She said I had blindsided her, that I emotionally shut down after her one mistake, that I abandoned her right when she was starting to get her career on track. Oh, and the best part? She told them Ava betrayed her by stealing her future. Yes, stealing. Like Ava was some homewrecker lurking in the bushes, waiting to pounce the second I became single. I wasn't even mad. I laughed. Because that level of delusion takes effort. Ava called me after. She tried to guilt-trip my mom into thinking you used her for business. Did your mom buy it? Ava snorted. My mom told her to grow the hell up and stop making up movies in her head. Legend. But Lindsay wasn't done. She tried Ava's cousin next, some wannabe therapist who reads too many self-help books and thinks she's qualified to moderate real-life drama. The cousin called Ava insensitive for dating me, said she should have considered how hard it must be for Lindsay to watch someone else step into her role. As if relationships are job titles, and I was the unpaid internship she fumbled. Ava shut it down. Hard. Told her cousin, Lindsay lost her seat. I didn't steal anything. She just didn't think the train would keep moving without her. That's the thing. When you stop playing their game, they try to change the rules. Lindsay didn't want me back because she loved me. She wanted me back because losing me meant losing the version of herself she liked best. The one where she could say, my boyfriend built me a business, like it was a personality trait. The one where she could fake independence while secretly being 90% reliant on my wallet and systems. And now, she was exposed. She had to prove to the world that she wasn't the problem. So she spun her narrative. He replaced me with my own sister. That's why I'm a mess. That's why my business failed. That's why I'm spiraling. Not because she lied, not because she cheated, but because I wouldn't let her re-enter the stage after walking off mid-scene. But here's where it really turned. She emailed me again, this time from a new domain. Said she was working with a business consultant now and needed clarification on some past financial records related to the design studio. Claimed she couldn't access client invoices and needed old reports to clean up her tax situation. Translation? She still thought she could guilt me into giving her back the keys. I replied with one line. All assets were deactivated the moment you breached your non-partner status. Speak to my lawyer for anything further. No reply. She must have realized then, the dream was officially dead. I'd moved on. The business was mine. Her sob story had expired. And no one, not even her own family, was falling for the recycled manipulation script. What killed her most wasn't the silence. It was the replacement. It was watching me thrive without her. It was Ava. Same bloodline, same family tree, doing what she couldn't, being real, being honest, not needing me to build a future for her, just wanting me there for the ride. And that crushed Lindsay, because deep down she thought she was irreplaceable. She thought she was the best I'd ever have, that I'd fall apart once she left. Instead, I upgraded, not because Ava's better looking, not because she's the sister, but because she shows up, because she doesn't use emotional manipulation as currency, because she has her own spine, her own goals, and doesn't need a man to hand her a purpose. Funny thing is, Lindsay might have gotten away with everything if she'd just owned it, if she'd apologized once, if she'd taken accountability, if she'd stepped away with dignity. I might have even respected that. But no, she tried to spin, deflect, and control every angle. And that's why she lost more than me. She lost everyone who saw through the script, even Jake, the guy she needed to feel something with. Last I heard, he moved to Denver. Didn't tell anyone. Probably embarrassed. Good. They deserve each other. Far away from me. Struggling to figure out why no one claps for them anymore. And me? I stopped looking back. Ava and I took a trip to Colorado last month, just to breathe some fresh air. Hike a little, eat real food, laugh. No fake drama, no staged photos. Just life. It was the first time in years I felt like myself again. Unfiltered, undistracted, unbothered.